Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Odyssey Explains, the series where we analyze the gaming industry, technology, and a slice of life. So, I have my apple and my orange. Now take out your notebooks because the class is about to begin. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to analyze why the AAA studios are failing, especially Western studios, in the gaming industry today. It is no secret that 2025 has been of the worst years that we have seen for gaming. While in the past, I'm talking about the last 10 years, we get a headbanger after headbanger of video games. We got our Mass Effects, we got our good Call of Duties, we got one after another, and in this year, we experienced Suicide Squad, Concord, Skull and Bones, Star Wars Outlaws, and many other more that are failing and flopping. The question is why? Why are exactly IPs, recognized IPs that are actually beloved by many, at some time even fanatically adored by many gamers, why are they not working? By logic, the theory will say that any studio that wants to make, let's say for example, a Star Wars game or an Assassin's Creed game, just with the right premise and correct writing, a good story, let's say, it should be a slam dunk for the studio, right? They should be able to nail it. Should be printing money just by the name of the brand alone. But while we were wondering, how the hell can they fuck Star Wars? How the hell they fuck Assassin's Creed? The answer that we receive from the studios, unfortunately, is hold my beer. And well, that is exactly where we are in 2025. So I'm gonna make a little crash course that I want to dedicate for all of those unemployed developers out there, those failed developers that are right now on the lines, going back home, putting the fries on the back, because 2025 has also seen a great number of layoffs from different studios, calculated between 4,000 to up to 6,500 layoffs just in 2025. The reason of this, we're going to learn what is the reason. And if you are one of those guys in the unemployment line, well, I hope that you're taking notes, because this is going to be a crash course on Business 101. Also, I hope that this could be informative for the regular and average gamer out there that just wants to enjoy a good video game but is not so much involved in the news of the industry. So I hope this helps you too. So let's take a dive on it. Here we go. So let's start with the very fundamental. A game studio is just basically a business. What is the main purpose of any business out there, on any industry? It's actually to provide a service or a product that fulfills the needs of the customers. Alright? Sometimes it's just a product, sometimes it's just a service, sometimes it's a combination of both. We have, for example, the online services, subscriptions, Xbox Game Pass, and similar, and other ones will be, in this case, products, which will be a video game by itself. Alright? So, the combination of these services are supposed to be the focus of our AAA or AA or indie studio that we're working on. And their target goal is to complete this product, in this case, this video game. Why are they working on a video game in the first place? For the same reason that every business works in the planet. For profit. Money. Ideally, that's how it used to be. Money used to move the world on the game industry. But something is happening over here. So, what happens when we make a successful game? Which is a successful product. We get, in return, a lot of money. That money allows for the company to grow even further, hire more personnel, offer more professional opportunities for their existing staff and new ones. And most importantly, they create something called brand recognition in the market and customer loyalty. Those two go hand in hand. The combination of all of this, in theory, will allow the cycle to continue. And actually, next time, probably even better. Because now, this studio has this brand recognition, this customer loyalty, and more resources than it had on their first video game. Let's assume it's just their first game. So this is supposed to be the cycle. Okay? So what composes a AAA studio? It's a combination from managements, your supervisors, your CEOs, your directors, all the suits, your developers, which are in theory, the brain and muscle, the beating heart of the project of the game. On there, we have quality assurance that are overseeing that this product is actually ready for delivering. We have the writers who are in charge for the most important part of a game, delivering a good story. Yes, a good story. Even in fighting games we have stories. Even in racing games we have stories. And finally, a marketing department, which purpose is to bring the product out there into the world for everyone to see and to try to appeal to the customers, potential customers, to buy it. So this video game, what does it have to do as a product? What is the main purpose of a product? To satisfy the customer need or want of something. In the case of a video game, customers need entertainment. Everyone needs entertainment. And they want that entertainment to be something interesting, something appealing. If all of these little things are achieved, then we go back to profit. And again, more company growth, blah, 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 the circle returns. And this is ideally how a successful business anywhere, in this specific scenario, in a game development studio, should work. Right? Question is, what happened? Why it isn't? Let's take a dive. On the last decade, video game studios started to get infected with an ideology. They started developing terrible business practice, suicidal in the long term if you ask me. And here we are 10 years later, they are reaping what they sow. This ideology comes basically for a change in the corporate, the companies and the studios' cultures. As you know, every company has an internal culture, which is a set of core values that they follow. These core values started to lean on no marketable traits, right? I'm talking about poor hiring practices from HR. By that, I mean hiring people with little or no experience, or people that are too young on the market. They have a focus on DEI, which is diversity, equity, all of that ideology started to be preferred and actually became mandatory. At first it was preferable, it seems that today it seems to be mandatory in order to get a job in a game studio as a developer. Follow to that, we have a tone-deaf marketing team, because they do not know what the market is, and if they do know, they choose to ignore it, because we see marketing campaigns for all those flopped games. Conquer, for example. We have Marathon, the latest game from Bungie. And they are seeing the results. They make marketing and they are getting poor reception, but they still insist on continuing with the same marketing model, appealing to nobody. And finally, what's supposed to be quality assurance seems to be non-existent. Apparently these games are not checked, tested, no focus groups, no nothing. So all of these terrible business practices are focused on what? The human resource. I'm talking about all the developers, management, marketing, writers, everyone in them. Everyone in the studio. I'm talking about the organic resources, the personnel. Alright? So what happens when you fill your studio with this kind of people without experience, with EI ideology, with, I don't know how to say it, with a mentality of trying to force and transmit their own personal ideologies to others without even asking, and at the expense of experienced personnel, right? These people have sometimes little to no experience, or are people that are either new on the industry or friends of somebody in the industry, and they're brought in. And you'll be surprised to see some people holding charges of a senior supervisor for 4 or 5 years on the industry in a studio that has not made a good video game in those last 4 or 5 years. How the hell are they keeping their job, I wonder? So, combine all of these poor business practices. That leads to a bad product. A product that is not marketable, that doesn't satisfy the customer needs or wants. Therefore, leads to poor sales. Poor sales means loss of profit. Barely some of these games breaking even, and some of them actually just breaking up within a few weeks of delivery. I'm talking to you, Concord. So, when we have a bad product, this affects a lot of people, especially the shareholders, who starts to ask questions. What is going on? Aren't we supposed to be making money? Why are we losing money? Where is my money? I'll be back next week. So that leads to layoffs. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. What were you expecting that was going to happen? And this is when the developers and the entire staff, from management to devs and everyone involved, starts to wonder, but why? No, it's not our fault. It's gamers' fault. They don't want to buy our game because they are racist, they are fascists, they are bigots, they are whatever. We have been called many names. The thing is that, like I mentioned, tone-deaf marketing. They do not know their market. The actual market for gamers, at least for several surveys that have been done, the latest one by Nintendo, if I recall, that has accurate numbers, is that most of the gamers are 80% men in average. The rest are women. And this is taking into account gamers that buy AA, AAA, and indie games. Alright? We're not taking into account your grandma playing on their cell phone, Bejeweled or something like that. No, we're talking that's the market. That's us. And they are not appealing to us. They are appealing to what is called the minority, the modern audience, which apparently either that modern audience doesn't have money or doesn't even care to purchase their product because they are not holding them. So now we have layoffs. What happens to the studio? It shrinks. That means less personnel. And if the studio jumps in now back in the circle, ideally, this will be the time for them to adjust course and to correct those practices, to train staff to bring on board qualified personnel. But no, they continue with the same circle, continue with the best practices. Sometimes they emphasize even more into them, which, once again, leads to a bad product, which then again leads to more layoffs, another shrink in the studio. And consider this like a circle. Every time that you make a run on this cycle and fail to deliver a product, you lose company growth. You shrink. You lose professional opportunities for your staff. They get fired. And the most importantly, every time you failed, you lost your customer loyalty. And your brand recognition turns from positive to negative. What your product was once beloved, today is to be avoided like the plague. Just a mere mention. I'm talking to you, BioWare, of you. What was once a sign of anxiety to fear on the latest product that you're going to deliver. For example, Mass Effect, back in the days. Now, just hear BioWare or any of these studios, and it's like, no, I think I'm gonna wait and see before I buy it. Doesn't look right. And eventually they made this circle over and over, so much that they get shrinking, until eventually the studio either is closed or sold. Ubisoft, yep, how are you doing over there? And that's it. That's exactly what is happening. That's why the video games that we have been receiving today have poor writing, a lot of infused ideology for DEI, LGTB, and all of that into it. Dragon Age, the Veilguard, rest in peace Dragon Age, you deserve better. And a bunch of layoffs and unemployed developers out there looking to grasp another job to continue with the same circle of self-destruction until they close another studio and then they get fired again. Do you know what's actually terrible about this? There is over there poor Joe, poor Jane, who are there actually just doing their job. They don't even care about any of these things. But inside of every one of these studios, it's culture. It's mostly a religion. You cannot talk against it without fear of losing your job. And you're working there. You don't even care on the AI. You're just doing what you're told. You're doing your job. Trying to keep the lights on. Keep the kids in school. And thanks to all of these crazy lunatics inside of the studio, poor Joe and Jane, who are actually just doing their job, sometimes get mixed in the crossfire that get laid off. I feel sorry for those people who are actually just trying to do their job. I can just imagine, for example, what was this game? I feel this was Outer Worlds 2. I can imagine this poor animator like, okay, I need you to animate these characters. And I just can imagine his face like, you want me to do what? Are you sure? You... Okay. I'll have it next Monday. Yeah, I believe that there are people like that. They are just there and they are told to do, like, hey, you have to do this. Because it has been approved and selected by everyone upstairs, the writers, quality, the developers. We all support it. And you're like, oh no, this probably they can see it from a mile away. But they are silenced. They cannot talk to the outside. They cannot make bad marketing for the game. In the end, they're just still innocent employees who sometimes are getting crossed in there. So I really feel for them. If you're one of those, then don't take this video personally. I'm sure that you will find another job. And do you know why? Because the studios that are actually correcting this, we can see it on the Eastern studios, they have different practices, business practices in place, especially when it comes to hiring and choosing their staff on all levels, from management to developers, for marketing and writers. Why? What is the magic key? What is the secret they hold that is making them successful? It's very, very simple. Their hiring practices are based on merit. People that has experience on the field. People that when they are hired, they don't look at their race, color, sexual orientation, or anything. They don't even care about it. They care about what do you do, for how long have you been doing it, what was your last success on the industry, what you work in last, what was your specific role in, I don't know, the success of your previous game. It's a merit-based hiring practice. If they happen to be any kind of color, yellow, blue, purple, they happen to be any kind of religion, whatever you want, or they happen to do, I don't know, whatever they do in their bedrooms, that's extra or not important whatsoever. And actually, that is the business model that it's successful. And we're back exactly where we started, on the success circle. Now, we're going to debunk one thing that is coming up on mainstream media. The game industry is changing. Therefore, that's why our games are not selling. Debunked. We have smaller studios, like the ones that develop successful Clair Obscur Expedition 33, which I hope is going to be the game of the year. We have Part 2 of Hollow Knight. Silksong, I believe it is. We have Wuchen Fallen Feathers, some controversy, but good sales. We have the latest Monster Hunter entry, also a headbanger. Why are these games being successful? Because they're just following a different business practice when it comes to their staff, when it comes to their corporate ideology, their corporate culture, and when it comes to the knowledge of the people they work with. And also, their marketing is awesome. They make their game a need and a want for everyone. Stellar Blade, I see you over there. Don't be shy. So, this is basically why every studio is closing. This is the business lesson that I hope that everybody has been paying attention. Because if you do not make these corrections, then you're going to keep on the cycle. And eventually, hopefully, developers on the East are going to take over the industry. And we just saw that happening. With the Square Enix closing all of their studios in Europe, firing all personnel, now they are going to develop in-house. They're going to develop exclusively by themselves. No more Western culture involved, because they realize that they're hurting sales. And if there's one thing that people in the East really love, it's profit, money. They are oriented to success. Now, we're gonna have all these people currently unemployed, trying to get hired to break another video game, and that's why you, my dear average gamer that just wants to kick up your shoes, pop up a cold one, and relax for a couple of hours after a terrible week of hard work with a video game, that's why your favorite IPs are dying. Once again, rest in peace, Dragon Age. That's why your favorite video games that you used to enjoy before, the new ones are just not cutting it for you. So I'm hoping that this helps to enlighten you a little bit. Finally, as a closing note, you might be wondering, what can we do as consumers in order to help or change this unfortunate trend on video game in this day and age? Well, it's very simple. Just continue to vote with your wallets. If you are not interested in a product or how is it done, if you don't find it appealing, just don't buy it. If you don't like something, by all means, but if you don't like it, then you just don't have to buy it. Remove your fear of missing out and change it for fear to be disappointed, not to mention wasting the equivalent of $80 in this day and age. And finally, avoid making pre-sales for video games. Instead, go on to your favorite streamer or YouTuber, I hope that's me, in order to get informed about what the game is about once it's released, so that you can get a good perspective. Is it a headbanger? Is it something that you will actually enjoy playing on the very 1 or 2 hours that you have free every day or every week, so that you can play video games? Is that something that you would like to go and jump in? So if it is, then again, open your wallet. Otherwise, I believe that you should wait and see on any game that comes in on the following years before buying it. Well, that's it. I hope this video has been informative and has been helpful for everyone. If you like this video, then by all means, like this video. And, you know, the usual, please subscribe to the channel. That really helps me, every subscriber over here. It's really something that encouraged me to continue making this kind of content for you. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about the current status of the game industry, and where do you think this is heading? Do you think it will change? Will there be a cleansing? Will another group of developers or studios will rise out of nowhere and will take over the industry by going back to basics? I don't know. You let me know in the comments over there. I'll be seeing you. And this has been Odyssey. Checking out. See you guys out there. Happy gaming.